Hi there, my name is Chris, Sales Manager for Sound and Vision in Bolton. You've chosen to look at today the Yamaha RX-V1067. It's a mid to top end amplifier in the Yamaha range. Stunning value at the moment. This amplifier normally retails in the region of around £900 and they're actually below £650. The amplifier itself is full 3D ready. You've got 8 HDMI inputs on the amplifier, of which they are wired fully for version 1.4 to cope with 3D vision and 3D audio return. The amplifier is 7.1, so it's 7 times 105 watts, but can be upgraded to 9.1. You have got front presence speakers available on this amplifier, so if you wire up the front presence, you can actually adapt it to 9.1 as well. It's full network capability on the amplifier. You've got Ethernet ports on the rear of the amp, so you can get internet radio, for instance, through the amplifier. So you've got access to any radio channel in the world through this amp. It's also got the facility to attach an iPod to it. You need the iPod dock, which just plugs into the rear of the amplifier, of which we'll have a look at in just a moment. We'll spin the amplifier around and have a look at all the sockets on the rear. Very straightforward to set up. It does come with a microphone. The microphone just plugs into the front of the amplifier. On the front of the amp, you've got this drop-down flap, so we'll just pull that down there. And on the front of the amplifier, you've got a socket here. You just plug the microphone in. Once you plug the mic in, it automatically indicates that the microphone is now connected to the amp, and it will do a full acoustic room setup for you. It will balance all the speakers up, set all the speaker levels for you, for distance as well, for a full acoustic room setup for your living room conditions. Once it's done that, you can also go into the menu on the amplifier, and the Yamaha menus are some of the simplest menus to use on any AV receivers, of which yet again we'll plug it into a TV screen. We'll have a look at those in a few minutes as well. That's the remote control that you get with the Yamaha. It's a very straightforward remote to use. The main key factors on here that we will be using in a few minutes will be the up, down, right and left function, and the enter button in the centre of the remote there. So as we said, the amplifier itself has 8 HDMI inputs. You've got 2 HDMI outputs as well. So with the 2 HDMI outs, you can actually feed the signal, say, to your main TV. But if you've also got a projector in the room, you can feed another HDMI out to a projector, so you can run 2 sources for the vision side from this particular amplifier. It's also got FM AM radio built into it, so as well as a network facility. We can get internet radio. You've also got FM AM facility through the amplifier as well. But what we'll do, we'll spin the amplifier and we'll just have a look at some of the sockets on the rear of the amp. So when you look at the back of the amplifier, obviously there's a lot of sockets on here, and initially they can look extremely complicated to wire up. In effect, they are very straightforward. What we've got here are your HDMI sockets running along the top of the amplifier here. And the chances are these are the only sockets that you will be using apart from the speaker sockets on the amplifier. So what we've got here is AV 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. You've also got the 8th HDMI just under the flap on the front of the amplifier. So these are all your inputs on the amplifier itself. So you can wire in your Blu-ray DVD into here, as well as say maybe your cable HD source or your satellite HD source. You may have a games console such as a PS3 or Xbox 360 that you want to connect into here as well, which you can do so through the HDMI input. So you plug all your sources into these sockets here. The 2 here are your HDMI outputs. So you just take a lead from here to your TV. That's your amplifier wired up. If you've only got, say, Sky, Blu-ray DVD, games console, you plug it into these sockets, then one from here into the amplifier, and then you just select either AV1, maybe for your Blu-ray DVD, or AV2, possibly for your satellite, and the picture comes onto your TV and the sound will come through your amplifier. Very, very straightforward to wire up. The other sockets that you've got on here are things like components. Yet again, some games consoles use components, so the red, green, blue sockets you would feed into here. Yet again, you can output this signal via the HDMI. You've also got your iPod dock, which is just here. Yet again, you can buy an iPod dock from Yamaha for this particular amplifier. And these are all your speaker terminals running down the bottom here. So on here, you've got basically your surround, right and left. You've got back surround, centre, front speakers right and left, and those are your presence speakers. So those are your front presence. So if you want an additional pair of speakers to go over and above the front 2 speakers, you can do so through front presence. and then you've just got your main socket here. You would also need to plug a subwoofer into the amplifier, so you would just find the subwoofer socket on the amplifier, which I think is there, yep, just underneath there, that's your subwoofer. So you'd have your subwoofer connected into there, your speakers into here, and just your HDMI inputs into here from each source that you're using, and then a HDMI out to your TV. You've also got then your aerial socket for your FM radio and AM just down here as well. So your FM connection for FM and AM down here. There's your Ethernet port, so if you want to do any networking through the amplifier, then you've got the network facility through the amplifier as well. So that's a brief rundown of the sockets on the rear, and as I said, pretty straightforward to wire up, and the menu systems are some of the simplest to use as well. Okay, for the on-screen menus on the Yamaha, we're going to be using the remote control now. I want to show you how easy these menus are to use. So as I said, we sell various amps from Yamaha to Sony to Pioneer to Onkyo, but the Yamaha menus are some of the simplest. You have basically a button here, and on that button there, it says on screen. The camera's just trying to focus in on that now, but you've got on screen there. And then we're just going to use the up, down, right and left buttons and enter just here. So on the amplifier, if we press the on-screen button that I've just shown you, it puts the on-screen menu up from the amplifier. And then we just use the up, down, right or left here. So we scroll down the information here. It takes us through various options on the amplifier. If we go into setup, I said the amplifier itself does come with a microphone and will do a full acoustic room setup for you. But quite often you may want to set that up manually yourself. You might want to alter the level of the rear speakers or the front speakers, which you can do so. So we've gone into the speaker setup. We just press the enter button, which is the center button in that up, down, right and left, and go into manual setup. In manual setup then, it gives us various options. It shows us the speaker setup here. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and the subwoofer on there. So it's set up on here as 5.1. You can alter that configuration as we come down into that. We've got options then to say adjust that to, we're talking about before about front present speakers. If we can go into that, and at the moment I've just got the two speakers here. If we say use to say that we are using front presence, it shows you where those speakers should be going, which are up and above your two front speakers on there as well. So we'll just come out of that for a moment. We'll switch those off to go back to a 5.1 setting. You can go into various options, and as we go through them there, we can see the front speakers are highlighted. If we go into the center one is highlighted there now. Once you're set on the one you want to adjust, just press enter, and first of all you can adjust it for large or small depending on the type of speakers you are using, and you just go through all the settings accordingly on those. Same for the front speakers, and just go through the surround and so on, and it will change the speakers accordingly depending on what type of speakers you are using on the system. If we come out of there for a second and go back into that menu and back into setup, back into manual setup, you can also set the distance where you're sat for how far the speakers are away from you, and also the level of each speaker. So if you're not happy with the level of, say, the rear speakers, you can select surround left, just press enter, and you can alter that setting and turn that speaker up or down accordingly to how you want that to be, and same for the rear right as well. As I said, very, very, very straightforward to use, not complicated at all. So there's the on-screen menus from the Yamaha, very, very straightforward. What we'll do now is just take a final look at the front of the amp. Okay, so here we have just a quick close-up of the front of the amplifier again, just to run through the actual controls on the amp itself. You've got, that's just your on-off switch just there. Underneath there, you've got your input selector. So just the same on the remote control. If you just spin this around, it selects between the different inputs on here. So you've got all your different inputs showing, such as your tuner on the front of there, PC, iPod dock, AV1, AV2, that's just running through the HDMI sockets on the rear of the amplifier. You can see it just spinning through those on there. As I said, it will go through to various different options, and when you come down from there, you've got the flap here, where you've got all the controls that are on the remote are literally on here. We were talking about before about the up, down and the enter button, the right and left. That's all in this section here, and you've also got various different other controls for FM, AM radio switching and tuning of the radio channels and so forth, all in this area. You've got a USB input on there, you've also got another HDMI, an optical input on there as well, and standard AV inputs, things like Wii games consoles. Rather than plugging into the rear, if they're not permanently wide, you can just plug it temporarily into the front of the amplifier. You've then just got your volume control, which is on the front of the amp to the right, and pure direct, which bypasses all these sort of bass and treble and various effects and so forth, to give you more pure audio for when you're just listening to, say, music from a CD source. This amplifier is also a very good musical amplifier. If you want to use it as a hi-fi amplifier, it's a very good hi-fi amp, as well as being an extremely good AV amplifier as well. So there you have it, that's the RX-V1067 from Yamaha, a fantastic amplifier. And as we've shown, amplifiers don't have to be complicated, very straightforward to set up, superb menus to use as well. If you'd like some more details, not just on this amplifier, but on many other amps that we do from various other manufacturers, either go through to our website, where you'll find other video clips on there as well. Our website is sounddivision.co.uk. My name is Chris. Please give me a call on 01204 861 861 if you'd like any more details at all, or call into one of our stores, either in Bolton or Leeds. Thank you for watching.